Okay then, guys, welcome to episode 7 of our SoccerRockz Extra Time podcast. We're joined today by our old friend, Kirk Miller. How you doing, mate?
Always good to see you, Cudworth. It's still the thing is that tonality in Tom's voice always brings me back to the changing rooms in Coventry of like Mr. Cudworth sitting us all down saying, right, what's went on at the weekend?
Oh, there was some good times, weren't there?
Yes, mate.
Wait, there were some horrendous stories from them weekends, weren't there? And some crazy antics.
Yeah, but the banter, like for anyone listening, like they were some of the greatest days of my life. And I think like the mad thing is now, like obviously we don't get to catch up too often, but it's as if it was yesterday. Do you know what I mean? It was incredible memories. Yeah.
Kieran, how are you tonight, mate?
I'm good, mate. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad. Just been drooling over Kirk's website and some of the bits and bobs that are on there, and just saying some unbelievable transformations on there. But I'm not going to get into that just yet, Kirk. I'd just like you, just tell us a little bit about, you're Coventry lad, grown up in Coventry, and talk us into you getting into football, and kind of how the sort of grassroots football got you kind of going, really.
Yeah, no, exactly that. Look, just like yourself, Cuds, and obviously all the other guys you've had on, the Peds and all that. And all. My dream was same as you, mate. At the moment my dad put a ball at my feet at the age of 2 or 3, whatever it was, I was obsessed by football. That was the dream, He put a Man United kit on me, and
Did he?
Yeah, no, and look, I was obsessed, and that was there's nothing more they enjoyed as a kid was to literally go over the park, be pals, and kick a ball and just fall in love with just that connection between obviously dudes playing football against each other. And yeah, I was just obsessed, mate, and that was the dream from an early age. I mean, ironically, and I think it sort of helped shape my identity, and the more I've learned about myself and my story, it's shaped my character now. But I think what really motivated me to sort of evolve into sport, especially at a young age, was obviously at the age of 3, I woke up, I couldn't move my legs, and then I had like an early signs of arthritis. And then at the age of 6, a Polish specialist tells me he knew how much I love football, that all I'd be able to do was swim. And I think that made me more determined to sort of prove him wrong and try and be a footballer, because that was my thing. I'll prove him wrong, and that's what made me so determined, of course, with sport and football. But I just absolutely loved it, loved competing, loved winning. And then obviously that evolved, from like playing with your pals, which I loved. And then obviously, you're playing for a little local team. It was Whitley Juniors actually at the time. But even that, just great memories, and obviously pictures pop up here and there. And then there was nothing better, when your dad's on the side cheering you on, and all the parents, and it's like what you've created at SoccerRockz, because that community of like young lads trying to be better at football, and then you've just got the coaches, the parents, and I think you can't beat that really, because I think with the world of like social media and stuff now, like which obviously we all have to sort of play a part with. I remember as a kid, like I think kids
it's very
now,
pure,
like,
wasn't it?
Yeah, exactly. It's so pure and it's so real. And I think even though obviously social media is such a big part for all of us now, and like business and connection, I still think, if you're a young kid, you can't beat just putting a ball at your feet. If you're a young kid, like just put a ball at your feet and just go and play with your pals. And then I obviously evolved from Whitley, and then got picked up at Coventry at the age of, I think it was 10. And I don't know about you kids, but when obviously I first started at Coventry, it was a bit of a shock really, because obviously you're used to just playing for fun and obviously winning and stuff, with your Sunday team. But you realise then it was a little bit more military from the get-go, of like getting told to actually pass the ball rather than take on 5-6 players and just trying to be like Maradona every time you got the ball. But it was got picked up by Coventry at the age of 10, 11. Really enjoyed it, because straight away you got to raise your game and you become better. But then you realise it's a little bit more serious than just playing around with your pals. And then obviously when I used to look up to you guys who were a little bit older than us, and you just sort of, I don't know, it just becomes a bit more real, that this, if you are trying to be a professional footballer, that the more you practice, and the more you work hard, then you got a better chance. And then of course, obviously from the age of 10, 11, obviously was with Coventry then till obviously our youth team and young professional days. And obviously evolved from there, didn't we?
It's always funny because obviously we were a little bit older than you, and you were kind of looking at us saying we want their spaces and we want to get into their teams, and then we were looking at who's above us, and everybody's kind of like chasing, aren't they? Everybody's sort of looking at, am I better than above me? Am I you know, have I got something that's different to what somebody else has got? And you're dead right. That competitive world of School of Excellence football, it was at the time,
that was it. Yeah, 100%.
School of Excellence.
That was it. Because I think the reality is, and this is where I think, like, if I was to give advice to like young guys now, is just make sure you're enjoying your football and try not to compare yourself too much. Because I think the reality is, all of us probably like went to Coventry where we were all the best players in our team and year, and then straight away you're in with a bunch of guys who are also the best from their respective areas, and obviously that's going to elevate your game. But then you can start looking at the likes of you, PD, McSheffrey, and be like, God, how am I ever going to get anywhere near that? But the reality is, it's just obviously you're just different physically. People evolve at different times, and you see it even now with like footballers like Jamie Vardy and people like that. You know that you don't. I think when
there's no blueprint, is there? It's almost it's organic as to what can happen.
Yeah, because you never know, like, you know, at what time someone evolves with their height, or they might be quicker as they get older. Who knows, you know? And it's. I think if I dare I say, have my time again, you know, which, you know, it's. I think you'd enjoy the process even more and not put too much pressure on yourself, you know. And I think that's what. First and foremost, of course, practice and get better. But any young kids, I just think, like, enjoy your football as much as possible. You know.
What position did you play?
Yeah, I think. Wow, mate, like.
Mate, a little bit of everywhere.
No. Well, what's ironic, right? So obviously, purely only because, and this is why I think, like, you can actually make yourself get better at everything if you're that, like, mental and just like actually practice something enough. But I actually, even though I'm right-footed, my dream is to love Ryan Giggs. But he was left-footed. So obviously, because he was left-footed, like, I wanted to be a left winger, like, because he was the guy. So I literally, like, was that obviously obsessed. I'd kick the ball like non-stop my left foot, and I'd go over the park and I'd take free kicks and corners with my left foot. Like, so I become pretty good at it. And then I actually played on the left wing, but purely because of like Ryan Giggs. Obviously, like, the reality is, I probably look back and think I probably would have had even more chance of actually being a phenomenal footballer if I actually practiced just as much on my right foot as what I did on my left. You know what I mean? But yeah, so I started off at like left. I think it was left wing, believe it or not. And then obviously went to Coventry, and then with as your thing froze, Tom. Yeah, no. So your thing froze. Yeah, no. And then obviously went to Coventry, and then Lowell Kearns and Ray Goodin. I think they moved me into like central midfield, up front. I think I was a striker at some point, and then I remember, I think it was the age of 13. Lowell said, because I'd shut up a little bit, he said, I think you make a great defender. I'm like, defender? I never defended in my life. And then, but the mad thing was, because I remember playing defence a few games, and we played. Do you remember the tournaments we used to play at Kiel? Yeah. I played at Kiel, and I don't know if many of you guys actually even know this, but I remember playing. There was Manchester United. We were in a hotel, you know, in like where we were staying. Obviously, this was like gold dust to me, because I was that annoying. I was that annoying kid who was asking the coaches like about all the players, and, you know, because I was obsessed with, like, you know, Cantona, Kanchelskis, Giggs, and I think maybe because of my enthusiasm, they actually come and like watch one of our games, but I didn't know about it at the time. So even though I'd only been playing defence codes for like a matter of weeks or months, I remember playing out my skin in that tournament, and then finished the tournament, and then a few days later, my dad wakes me up and he's like really excited, and he's writing Man United scout on the phone. Like,
no way.
This is gospel, kids, right? And obviously, you know, I would have got destroyed if I'd have said this in the changing room. But at the age of like 13, 14, obviously, Man United, they wanted to, you know, it's just before, you remember before you signed schoolboy forms, and if you signed schoolboy forms, you locked in for 2 years. So right. I knew Manchester United wanted to take me up at the end of the season and sign me up as a schoolboy. So, but it was a few months to wait. So like, I tried to keep it quiet, and because obviously I was like, Man United, my team. I thought, this is like my dream. And Gordon Strachan and everyone, he was a gaffer at the time, must have found out. And literally, I remember turning up at training ground, and Gordon Strachan was there, and like Ray Gooden or whatever, and they went, "We know Man United have called your house," and I was like, what do you mean? I tried to deny it. just because I wanted to keep it a secret. But the reality was, because I knew Manchester United like wanted me, and obviously this was my team, like, and then Gordon Strachan said, we want to sit you down and like talk about a contract and all this. I started playing shit because it was just messing my head up. And like, but I remember, and then long story short, I got faced with a decision. Obviously, Gary McAllister basically offered me a young professional contract at the age of 14, which was pretty unheard of at the time at the club. And I look back now, between me and you, like, the contract they offered me, obviously by the time I was actually 17, was horrendous. Like, so, like, yeah, great. I might got offered a contract at like 17, but 14 or 13. So I was guaranteed professional. But by the time I was actually 17, when we had all the Italians coming over, they're getting a grand a week, and I'm on like 250 a week. Like,
yeah.
You know what I mean? You know, so, but long story short, I think it wasn't a regret, because I think obviously it shapes your, you know, your identity and your path, and everything happens for a reason. But like, the reason I signed for Coventry, like, basically didn't end up going for like Manchester United, is my mum was like, "What about your studies, your school? You know, what about if it don't work?" And the reality is that, look, obviously everything happens for a reason, but like, the last thing I would do, like, say, that's my advice to anyone is like, if you get an opportunity, I'd rather, like, I ended up failing at Coventry anyway, so I might as well have went to Manchester United and failing. You know, like, but, you know, that was my dream.
To fail at Man United.
All jokes aside, I think, like, from a character perspective, these are things that I think have just like benefit me in later life, you know, in terms of my experiences, and help build my mindset. And even, like, you know, getting told at the age of 6, all you're going to be able to do is swim. It shaped my identity and made me the person I'm probably a better coach in doing what I'm doing now, if that makes sense, you know. But yeah, just you don't turn down Man United.
Don't turn down Man United.
You don't turn Man United down for a £250 contract at the age of 17. And you got Antonio, I hope he watches this, them lot coming over like on the back of 2 trial games, raking it
in. Oh God, those. But I suppose that takes us on to sort of them youth team years when we were in there, and there was all this, you know, Italian boys, and there was the Swedish boys, and the Irish and the Scottish boys, and it was a real kind of crazy place, wasn't it?
Yeah. No, it was like, and I actually think those years, like in that youth team room in the reserves, and I honestly think, like, being around that many different characters, like quiet characters, loud characters, obviously getting torn apart by you and all the other, like, multiple times, you've got to be quite thick-skinned, like, haven't you? Because you've got to take some flack here and there. But the reality is, you know, your people skills and ability to communicate and have banter and just talk and adapt, that's like 100% helped what I'm doing now, and just, I think it helps your social skills more than anything else, you know. But they were incredible memories, you know. But I mean,
it was funny. Them boys come in on the unbelievable money, didn't they? They were young, 16, 17-year-old lads getting paid 10 grand every 3 months or something.
Yeah, and the signing on fees and stuff. I think my signing on fee was something like, and I thought, obviously at the age of 13, you think, oh, that's a great deal. I think my signing on fee was something like my 17th, 18th, and 19th birthday, it was 1,000.
Yeah.
And I think my money went from something like $250 a week at 17, then to 300 and 350. Like, if I was probably less than that. But it's, look, it all happens for a reason. But yeah, it was good times, you know. I don't regret anything of it. And I think the weird thing is, and I don't know how you felt, you know, when you sort of like got released or we didn't get that next contract, it's like, and I suppose that took me after that without realising it to quite a dark place, if I'm honest, because, you know, although now, you know, I sort of couldn't be happy with the direction of my career, and obviously my goals and all that sort of stuff. The reality was, you know, when Gary McAllister took me into the room at the age of 19, 20, at the end of your 3rd year, and he sits you down, and within 15 seconds, your dream of, like, you know, best part of 20 years shattered in the space of a 15-second conversation.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like you, because I'm obviously, you put on the brave face and you come down, it is what it is. But I think that controlled me emotionally for, it sounds deep, like 6-7 years, literally, because that's the first time in your life that we've all gone through your school teams, you know, as the hero, you're the captain, you know, winning non-stop.
Yeah.
And then that is the first time you've categorically been told in your life you're not good enough. And I don't think nothing can prepare you for that. Or I knew I wasn't emotionally prepared for that, no matter how, even though we knew it was a distinct possibility, when you're going into your third year. But yeah, because that took me down a path emotionally that I wasn't ready for. And I even look back, what's mental, because from like the age of like 19, 20, like, when you look at previous Facebook posts, shortly after that, when Facebook coming in,
Yeah.
I actually cringe when I look back at some of my old Facebook posts during that period from the age of say 20 to 26, because of how negative I was. It was a very like dark place, if I'm honest, because retrained then as a gas plumber engineer, which nothing against that. Do you know what I mean? As I said, all I know is that I did that because you need a job, and I did it. That was a career because it was safe, and that's going to bring in money. You'll always have work because it's a tradesman. But I think I was just lost because I don't know about
I think I think that time you've summed it up really well there, because that time you can be the strongest character and the biggest personality in that room, but the minute you go up them stairs and you sit in the manager's office and he says to you, you're not getting a contract, you're now going to be released, technically you're unemployed and you are catching up with we've both got mates who during that time when we were living the dream, playing football as young players, and we were saying,
you asked kissed at the weekend and all that stuff. I get it.
Yeah. And these guys are all kind of apprenticeships and things like that, and we're kind of living the dream, or so-called living the dream in other people's eyes. Yeah. And then all of a sudden you get hit with that sledgehammer and you're thinking, oh wow, what next?
Yeah, no, 100%. And obviously, like, I'm massive into like personal development now, mate, for multiple reasons. I just think the more we can grow emotionally and mentally, then it generally correlates to a better outlook on life. But I think the hardest thing with that, knowing what I know now about like personal development and mindset, is where we like really lose empowerment as humans is like when you have a life perception of how your life should be, where we feel disempowered. And like, obviously I just sort of lost my drive and, lost that oomph, is when you think life should be a certain way or a certain situation be a certain way and life doesn't match up to it. That is when we feel we lose empowerment. And ultimately, when you lose control of your destiny, I know with me, like, I like to know where I'm going. And then in that moment, you're like, when you've conditioned your mind that that's all you know and all you want to do. And I did pretty well at school, but that's irrelevant. When you've done a job like that and it's so like hands-on, you've got that connection daily with the banter and the human connection, which is the ultimate human need, love in a way, I suppose. And it's like, that's all of a sudden it's gone. It was hard, it was tough, but I couldn't admit it at the time. But, obviously that's when, because I was like, drinking very heavily at weekends after that. And, I'll be brutally honest, mate, I started taking drugs, and it's just,
I think one thing about you though, mate, was in that changing room, you were always into fitness, weren't you? You were always into, mate, you've always had a great body, you've always been fit, you've always, I remember the days when you'd be like, right, who's training this morning? You'd be like, no, I'm not training, I'm going to the gym, I'm going over there, we're doing shoulders.
No, the mad thing was, mate, I think like, when obviously we used to be in the gym, like without realizing it, because, whoever I train with, generally it was me taking the lead role. So without realizing it, I was sort of probably doing parts of my dream job then without realizing it, because I just loved sort of helping. And obviously I've made great friends with Gruey, mad Gruey, and any of the gym fitness guys obviously I connected with, and obviously took nuggets from them even with what I'm doing now. But yeah, look, some players hated the gym, some loved it. I mean, and what's ironic, obviously some of the lads in later life have actually come to me to help fix the fact they've piled on since they've quit anyway. But I did love it, mate. And it's just, I love training though. A lot of players don't love training. I loved training. Do you know what I mean? Some players hated it, and Lee Fowler and stuff, he hated it, didn't he? But he was a great player. I think with me, like, even when I felt I was at my sharpest as a footballer, it was when I was training, you know, on point, and I weren't very good at when I was being injured. Because, you know, I got injured. I probably injured out of those 3 years. I was probably injured 18 months of it sporadically, which is no good on a 3 year, you know, apprenticeship. But the reality was, like, even though I'm so love my training, I can be quite obsessive to say the least. Like, but when I weren't training, I lost control. I found it tough. Do you know what I mean? Because you're in no man's land, and it's a weird place, the football club, isn't it? Because and I know a lot of footballers say this, but when you're training, you're playing in, you know, I was like you as captain, and you're on top of the world, and then when you're not training, it's a very lonely place, isn't it? You know, in that, even though I love the gym, you're just by yourself. No one really cares about you.
Do you still obviously with your clients, and we're going to go into your business a little bit in a minute, but do you, because mate, you were a footballer until you were 19 years of age, so it's a massive part of your life, but obviously people would probably now say, oh, this guy's always been a fitness model, he's always been a, you know, trainer. It's, you know, do you still kind of go back to your football days?
Yeah, no. The reality is what's weird, because, like, you know, at the minute, if I look at how, say, the last 10 years I've been coaching, and I'm doing obviously aspects of, you know, the fitness modeling with the covers and stuff, which has obviously helped my career and exposure immensely. But if I look at where I'm at in terms of my training and stuff now, yes, of course, I still like lifting weights and I like to look a certain way, but I've sort of really enjoy, you know, doing the cardiovascular aspect of it as well now. Because, you know, like, because if you think about it, like I've done something for 19, 20 years, and like I was, as you know, I was probably one of the fittest at the club, if not the fittest, when we did the Bruns and the bleach test. So I loved running and pushing my heart as well. And even though obviously I'm training to help people look a certain way, one thing I'm massive on is make sure your physical fitness is also there with it, you know, because so my training now is very much like, you know, lifting weights as well as running. You know, I love the boxing and stuff because it stimulates my brain, and that sort of replaced the buzz of the football, you know, where you're getting told what to do by great coaches or you're around better players, you know, because I've always liked to learn. And I think the problem with like just doing the weights and stuff the last 10, 15 years, Cuds, is it's just not boring. So I absolutely love it. But, you know, I've got that love again for physical fitness in the same way when we're playing football, you know, running around and just moving the body a bit more. So it's a bit more balanced now, you know, my mindset, and also recovery and all that sort of stuff. But football, look, that shaped my work ethic 100%. And I just think that the whole football experience, it from a people skills perspective and also from a leadership skills perspective, like if you look at what I'm doing now, I'm leading people to look great, feel great, and give them the confidence to believe that anything is possible. If you think about even you as a captain, Kurt, or any true great captain, you're doing the same. You're making people perform better and like do a job that they didn't think they could do. You're getting more out of them. And the reality was, whether I was leading people on a football pitch, I'm just leading it, but in a different direction, you know, to make people believe that they can look better, feel better. And if they're stuck, look, you can always create a new vision. So I think the whole football thing helped me just definitely. And even being around good coaches, it's just more from the mindset perspective, like 100%.
I've always enjoyed seeing you on the, you know, like the old Pilates machines and things like that. And what are them stretchy things that I see you on?
I don't know the exact names, but yeah, with the Pilates last couple of years, obviously, Gab's my partner. She's obviously one of the best in London. Her company, like they're, you know, again, I fell into that by obviously just doing it with Gabs. But all jokes aside with that, mate, I actually think, again, it's all hindsight, but knowing what I know now about the body and gym, and really genuinely trying to structure like a proper, you know, program and stuff, I honestly believe that if I'd have been doing Pilates, I'd have had less injuries when I played football. 100%, you know, and because the reality is most of us only went in the gym. Well, I did, we just wanted to do it to look good, wasn't it? Do you know what I mean?
I think the honest thing with that is, and I think anybody who was at Cov in them sort of 10 years, that little hut gym was in there. It was summer prep, weren't it? It wasn't necessarily to enhance your football.
No, it wasn't.
It was summer prep.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, because like, obviously, like, and I advise to any young footballer, please listen to this, right? You will perform better if you actually focus on things like your glutes, your hamstrings, and, you know, balance of the body, and doing more Pilates rather than, right, we've got the summer holiday coming up, lads, off season. Let's do chest and arms, not a leg day in sight. Because one of my biggest mistakes as well, because again, knowing what I know now about the body and recovery, was you know, you do, say if you had an injury, and I had a lot of problems with my knees, and you do all the rehab, so I'd strengthen my knees and probably did aspects of glute work, especially because we had good physios, of course. But then you fall into that trap of going, right, I don't need to train my legs because I'm back running now, I'm back playing football. But that's stupid, because all you're doing is, when you're back playing, you get fit, so you've got that strength and that connective tissue around your joints, so you've got that cushioning your knees and all that stuff. You play a couple of games a week. The only time we go in the gym would maybe do some upper body, and all you're doing is wasting away muscle tissue. So then knee injuries are just slowly but surely resurfacing because you're not focusing on recovery. There's no posterior chain work. Without getting too technical, it's like, I look back and even the coaches at the time, I mean, they were obviously good to a point, but I think knowledge has evolved so much that, like, again, there's no way that than half the stuff in the gym, it would have been so much more beneficial to a game of football rather than, right, if we go and Falaraki with the lads for 2 weeks.
With
me and Pipey, you know, seeing who can get the biggest chest, but you know.
With the when the doctor told you when you were 6, did you still feel that as you were training, like as you were going into Coventry and stuff, and do you still feel it now, or what changes it?
No. Listen, look, this is, I believe even now as a coach, I believe that mindset is my superpower. I believe that anything is like possible when you look at it that way. But at the age of 6, I mean, it's weird, and it took a personal development courses, you know, to sort of figure that out. I mean, why would I even remember that? You know, but when you dig deep, like, often what shapes our identity and our character are things that have happened whilst we're growing up. We decide in that moment we're going to become something. And I think that's why I feel so passionate about it, because a lot of people's problems, you know, and they keep repeating them, whether people drink too much or they keep repeating stuff deep down they don't want to, is because it's just stuff they haven't, like, fixed, you know, or just reshaped, you know, from an early age. And obviously at the age of 6, you know, to get told, you know, all you're going to be able to do is swim. What's weird is how would I possibly have remembered that? But I decided in that moment I'm going to prove him wrong, which there's been pros and cons to that in my life. Obviously, I was always that kid that barely lost a race at school. You know, great from a sporting perspective, but obviously it's been like sabotage as well at different aspects of my life. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, it just shaped my character, I believe. You know, and the reality was, if I'm being brutally honest, the guy weren't wrong. You know, when he said, "Look, you're not going to be able to play football." Maybe if I look at all the knee injuries I had, because he was technically right, I suppose, but I still fulfilled from my side. Like, I did show that anything was possible, because I still fulfilled. I've got a professional contract. Didn't obviously go to the level I wanted to, but it just shows that, you know, don't let someone control the destiny of your life. You know, if there's something you don't agree with it, you know.
Mate, I think a thing that I'm really proud of you for. I love nothing more than going into like my local supermarket or something like that, and I look over and I look past the sweets and the chocolate, mate, sometimes. But I see you on that shelf, mate, with the cover model pictures and all that sort of stuff. And just tell us about that. How's all that kind of come about?
No. So obviously, you know, just you know, I'll try and get a chop on with this story, so I can I'll waffle about this. No, but it's just, it is literally like, well, obviously one of the most pivotal moments of my life, what happened. But obviously after getting knocked back from Coventry, I retrained as a gas engineer, 6-7 years, lost aimlessly, thinking like, what, I know something wasn't right, you know, where am I going? And then I had a obviously very lucky break in 2010. I entered and won the men's health cover model competition. But the year before, because I actually, through Sonia, my friend, she obviously pushed me forward for the same competition to win men's health. I'd made the final, but missed a phone call, so I was fitting a toilet. Rang them back a week later. Rang back. No, but again, because it just, at that point of my life, emotionally, I wasn't ready to win that. My habits were terrible, and I think the universe either rewards you or doesn't, depending on where you're at. I think everything happens at the right time in life, you know, depending on your behaviour and who you're around and all that sort of stuff. So I missed obviously the phone call, and then a year later entered it, win the men's health competition. And then the penny dropped then, because it wasn't even the fact of, yeah, we've got a cover, it's nice to see us having a shelf, and my mum was pleased, of course. The penny dropped that I need to follow my passion again. That was my cue to go, you know what, you're born to change lives and, you know, lift people and lead. And, you know, I just knew that was the time to do what I'm doing now, which was retrain as a trainer, initially as a personal trainer, and then obviously I've evolved as an online trainer now. But that spiraled a lot of covers, because I was very lucky to obviously get countless covers. I've had more covers on the Men's Fitness UK than any other man, which has been fantastic. But more so, it's just allowed me to sort of have more exposure and obviously help coach more people. And again, just to show that anything's possible, you know, because again, even before I win the men's health thing, because I used to think I'd look at the magazine for years and I could be on that cover, but I didn't believe it. That was the problem. I didn't believe it. And that was all a mindset thing. The reality was, because I let that knockback from Gary McAllister control me, where I didn't think I was good enough.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You don't think you were good enough. And then, you know, it took obviously persistence and obviously that break. But then the moment you get that, that's why I'm so passionate now about nothing is impossible when you have, like, when you are around the right people and you have the right vision, and you know, you have someone guiding you there to lead you to a better way. Because a lot of the time when we say to ourselves we can achieve something, it's all a story we say inside our head, and it's just we just haven't been shown the way yet, you know. So that's something I feel so passionate about that anything is possible, and that showed me that irrelevant Coventry or not, I thought, oh, that can't be me because I'm Coventry. It's all bullshit, and it's all stories in your head, you know.
So in terms of your progression, how did you, you've obviously you've won that competition, and you've then discovered your passion. Well, not discovered it, but you've realized that this is going to be me now. I want to invest my time. I want to invest my energy into this. Mm-hmm. This is what I'm going to do. There must have been people from that stage who kind of impacted on you as a person, and you kind of said, you know what, I believe in him, or this person's, you know, really a positive influence on what I want to achieve.
In what respect, like in terms of like mentors and like?
Yeah, was there anybody that you kind of met that you sort of thought, wow, you know,
no,
perhaps mentor or?
No, not lots of people. There was obviously like people within the fitness industry. For example, there was a guy called Greg Plitt, who was like a big character in the US, and he was I was fascinated by his drive and his personality. And I remember saying to myself, ironically, that he was like the biggest guy like in world fitness, and he had a terrible death a few years ago, which was very sad. But I remember thinking to myself that there's no one in the UK who is that lead figure, you know, in terms of like fitness and you know what I mean, even from the covers and all that superficial stuff. I just thought there's no one who's like a personality, and I said I'm going to be one of the biggest names in UK fitness within the next year. And that's what happened. I was lucky enough to be on billboards and stuff at the expos, but it was just I just wanted it, just gave me a new level of belief. And then obviously over the years training with like world champion bodybuilders like Rich Gazecki, he just took my training perspective to another level. I thought I trained hard, and then I trained with him. I felt like I'd been run over by a steam train. Do you know what I mean? But it was just, you need people to raise your standards in life, you know? And if I look at, you know, other coaches, what I've done very cleverly over the last sort of 10 years is work with phenomenal coaches and mentors, take the best bits from them, merge it in my own style. And then just sort of, that's made me a better coach. But then I've also, you know, invested heavily in like life coaches and stuff, codes, which I feel so passionate about, because if you look after that, your body and your habits will follow. It's as simple as that. You know, the more you can control your mind, then the more in control of your destiny you will be, which won't sound quite deep, but it's 100%. If you can control that, it means you can handle criticism better, you know, and you can monitor your state like better. So if I have my mindset now, for example, and then like go as far back as like even like, you know, with George Mackey when he was like coaching us and stuff, like great coach, but you know, sometimes like, you know, sometimes you think like he might have affected the way you played, perhaps just because he's gone a bit too far. Like it would not affect me anymore. Do you know what I mean? You all needed that kick up the arse and stuff. And even like say if I had another knockback now, Gary McAllister did the same again. Like it is what it is. I always look at any setback now and go, what is it teaching me, and where is it redirecting me? Because at the end of the day, when you have emotional control, that you can let go of, you know, any sort of negative feedback, or when something doesn't go your way, it is what it is. you know, like, that's where power is made, when you don't let someone else control you or something control you, you know, but for a sustained period, you know.
So Kurt, this is one of my most favourite bits, and I look forward to this every Sunday because it fills my heart with gladness. But your Sunday cheat meal. Do you just decide to try and see how much you can fit onto a plate and then eat it?
They to be honest, they get down an absolute storm. I mean, the thing is, because what started off as obviously a bit of a not piss take, but you know, Kirky Sunday special. It's actually iconic. Because what's ironic, because you know when I have someone, obviously I'm on a call when someone wants to work with me, and so often, you know, I'm like, okay, you know, it comes to the point where I'm like, okay, why do you want to work with me? Like, obviously they clearly obviously know I can get someone in shape, right, you know, and all that sort of stuff, but they're like, I just love the fact that, like, you know, you have these Sunday specials, and it's like, you eat the normal stuff. And to be honest, because like that's one of my things. Like, look, I can get, you work with me, I'll get you in the best shape of your life, right? But like, I want to do it in a way where you can actually, it's sustainable, and you can actually enjoy, you know, lifelong habits. Which for me, I'm sure you're the same, because I attribute, like, one of my basic, like, forms of love and connection with my family was the Sunday dinner with my mum and dad. And even when I go back to Coventry now, because I just love, you know, the big roast dinners, and it's like a mountain. But it's just, listen, even though my goal is to look and feel a certain way, because like, one thing that I will never compromise on is having some form of like social balance. And I like eating out, you know, I like food, and obviously because of what I do, I know how to manipulate my food, know how to eat around that and all that sort of stuff. But nothing beats, mate, that mountain, mate. And I think what it is, it's about the only thing that slows me down. Do you know what I mean? It's like a big amount of food. I'm just non-stop, you know, all week, and then I need a big feed, a few carbs and mashed potato and roasties and stuff, you know.
That must taste so good on a Sunday.
But the thing is, because even though like obviously through knowledge, of course, like, I've evolved massively from where you know, my eating knowledge in the past was, when I first came in the industry, it was like a terrible relationship with food I had, because, you know, where I won this Men's Health, and I didn't have the knowledge I do now. I thought the only way to maintain abs and recover ready and all this stuff was, you know, to basically like really low carbs, really low calories. But then come the weekend, because I couldn't stop binge eating. It was horrendous. It was more or less an eating disorder. But obviously through knowledge, like, you learn truly about nutrition, all that stuff. Like, it doesn't have to be that way. But yeah, them roast dinners, mate, they're sensational, mate. And but I just believe that it's not sustainable to get in great shape and on, you know, whitefish and broccoli 7 days a week, you know. So I teach my clients, of course, how to still look good but still have that social flexibility. And it's just, I think, manipulation of calories.
Going back to when we were playing, it was again, it was almost diet was, it was probably coming in a little bit, but, you know, we were still, you know, we would still Yates's Saturday night, you know, we'd be out every weekend, wouldn't we? And then you'd be like waking up Monday morning, like, right, I need to get in the first team this week.
No. Yeah, I mean, if knowing what I know now, because again, I don't want to, you know, badmouth obviously the system we had at Coventry, you know, with like the physios, the food, the coaches. Like, it's just knowledge has evolved. And if I look at the food, even we had them, even though we had the canteen at the lodge and stuff like that, it was nowhere near as efficient as what it could have been. Do you know what I mean? And I remember as well, I don't know, you must have had this. Remember my first year as an apprentice, mate. Honestly, this is gospel. You must have had it, because you were obviously older than me. We got given the McDonald's gold cards.
Oh, mate.
we spoke about that.
Yeah. McDonald's gold cards. And the thing is, because obviously I ran around so much and like training, I probably got away with it because I was just running all the time. I just didn't stop training. I was in the gym, of course, as well. And like, I got away with it, but I didn't go past McDonald's without having a McChicken sandwich or, like, you know, some chips or something. Like, even on a Saturday night, what we used to do is when we used to go to Yates's and some horrendous place. What was it? I can't remember the club we used to go to, but me, Smithy, obviously, you know, all you girls love Smithy. and my pals, I would literally go into McDonald's after Yates's on the way to the club. I'd get a full-on chicken sandwich meal, or Big Mac meal, whatever it was, and I'd pass the gold card back, like pissed up, you know, to the lads. And you get away with it, and then eventually, like, they realise, like, you get caught a few times, and you just have to beg it to give up and back. But I'm getting, like, me and Smithy, Matty Case, all my pals, like 7 Big Mac meals off the one card. But you think, what professional football club really would give you a 17-year-old a McDonald's gold card, especially with the lads who struggle with their body weight?
Yeah,
I'm not a betting man, but I don't really think that really helps someone be a footballer.
Do you remember when the Italian boys come in and they used to make them do 40-minute CV before they even kicked a ball? And they'd come in, and these boys had just landed from Italy, and the youth team managers had run about shouting, "Oi, you're too fat, get in the gym." And it was like, oh, they were just unbelievable.
Yeah, they got destroyed, especially because obviously Gary Mackey, George Mackey, sorry, he's like his Scottish accent. You're fat fucking Italian bastards. And like, but the thing is with the Italians, what was so funny with them, like, and again, I hope he watches, like, or Antonio, because he messages here and there, is remember, they come over, they'd never touched an alcoholic drink in their life. They'd never, like, you know, obviously they were like teetotal Italians. By the end of the third year, they were flat out loved an English pint. And just, like, just loved, you know. I remember Antonio used to go, "Yeah, geez," you know, like Italian accent. You think, yeah, probably didn't help a few of us on the social front, you know, in terms of trying to be footballers. But yeah, hilarious, them two.
Oh, brilliant. Good times, mate. So just talk us through. So now we just while Kieran was coming back in, we were talking about your kind of work now and how you kind of evolved your own sort of work, and you're doing a lot of, just talk us through what you're doing, mate.
No, 100%. So obviously, you know, I've been doing what I've been doing for like 10 years, where effectively I was a sort of PT in the gym, and then obviously did that for like eight years in Coventry, and then I just felt, obviously I'm in London now, I just felt I'd achieved everything I wanted to and needed to in Coventry. I knew there was more, do you know what I mean? And I just needed to challenge myself, and yeah, obviously I started evolving into online coaching shortly before I sort of came to London, just because I knew that from a scalability point of view, I could only help so many people in the gym, and for me to help more people and obviously grow business, I wanted to obviously evolve online. And then came down to London, new challenge, and I just needed. I love Coventry pieces, my friends, my family, and stuff. But I needed a challenge, because I need to feel like I'm growing, and I wanted to just be amongst more successful people, you know. And so I've moved down, and then typically me, I threw myself at the deep end. It weren't like I came down here and like wanted some commercial. Gym where I could have had a handpicked load of clients. I came here freelance, and again, I seem to respond pretty well to pressure. So it's sort of like you got to make it work one way or the other. And then just slowly but surely, mate, the last couple of years evolved more to online, and then the last sort of like 6 months or so, because it's just been solely online now. Just because of the way I built my systems and my coaching program, like built the last private coaching program, it's obsessive, because, you know, with like support systems, members lab, Facebook group content. And for me, I love the mindset stuff just as much as the physical stuff, because as I was saying to you like previously, I could be coaching you like in person 5-6 days a week. The reality is most people, my demographic, like 30, 35 up, you know, to 50, like most people have trained at some point in their life in the gym, whether it's, or even like football, they've trained. The reality is, that isn't what's letting them down when it comes to like trying to look and feel a certain way. What's letting them down is habits with their food and their lifestyle management, and just not knowing how, as we get older, we can still exercise, feel healthy, look a certain way, get in great shape, but still do it whilst incorporating like family priorities, business priorities, and being time precious, you know. So that's where, with my online coaching, that support system and the systems that I've set up, I just enjoy that just as much as, you know, kicking someone's ass in the gym. So it's grew a hell of a lot the last. It just allows me, all jokes aside, mate. It's allowed me to help more people all around the world. Whereas when you're just in a gym, there's only so many hours you can do, and I can't help as many people. And look, I want to be as successful as any trainer on the planet in terms of like business, but I want to help as many people as possible. And with that, of course, comes business growth, and that's it. It's my mission while I'm on this planet to help as many people.
Mate, how do you do it in terms of like time differences? Because if you obviously helping people from across the globe.
Yeah, but again, because if I look at the way I set up a program for someone, again, I've got clients in like Miami, New York, all different parts of the US and obviously parts of Europe and stuff as well. But it's because I have like video demonstrations and me, like, from a technique perspective, training perspective, they know how to train. I get someone's technique optimal within a week or two, and then any touch points, anything he's fixing, I've got training labs, there's personal contact with me if that's part of their program, of course. But it's the whole like complete support system from like mindset, training, nutrition, lifestyle. If you look after someone's mind, they're going to control their habits. They'll manage stress better. They'll think better. They'll maintain motivation. Training. I teach people how to train optimally, from making their training more efficient, helping how to adapt it if they were traveling or whatever they may be, or reduce time. Nutrition, teaching them truly what matters with their food. Lifestyle management, how to eat out and get lean, how to drink and get lean. So that's real coaching. That's real education. With the greatest respect to like trainers, and I've been one of these trainers, just me kicking your ass 3 hours a week in the gym is not going to transform you.
Miller, I need to ask you a question then, mate, because my personal trainer, PD, lives across the road, and he's the devil.
I love
PD. Let me tell you why. Because he kicks my ass in the gym. So we go in the gym and do all that, and then he'll phone me on a Friday afternoon. He'll say to me, "Fancy a pint?" So he's the devil. He is, Kirk.
Well, you know what's funny? That's probably similar to Chris Reed. Obviously, Reedy. So like, obviously, I used to train Chris in Coventry, and let's just say he wasn't always the most enthusiastic of applicants, or clients, right? So like, I'd train him, and like sometimes it happened similar thing. Like he'd go message me on a Sunday, like, "Do you want to go to Rupali?" And I suppose it's like, this is how I've evolved maybe in my professional standards, and like, it's probably not the best idea to train your best mate here and there, right? But we used to go to Rupali, and then on a Monday morning it'd be in for legs or whatever it was, like, hang on a minute, he's like, we're going to Rupali, like, that's just like a market employee to keep me, because he keeps needing me. But no, all jokes aside, because like, I've got clients now, like I'm back up in Coventry in a couple of weeks. One of my clients, this is 50th. I develop great relationships with my clients, and especially the ones that are UK based and obviously Coventry based, of course. Like, I'm back up and I'll have a few drinks with Al, and so PD's a couple of points I'm going to touch aside, mate. When you're training properly, I'm sure PD's kicking your ass enough, mate.
I think, mate, to be honest, I think that's probably one of your real strong points, because you're such a likable guy and you're such a laugher. And you're so down to earth with it. I mean, you don't get carried away with it. You kind of, the cheap meals, I love them. You're always kind of at a function where you're having, whether it's a couple of gin and tonics or whatever it is. What is your tipple at the minute, mate?
You know what, mate? That's one thing, dude. Like, I do, of course, I still love a beer as much as anyone, mate. But I mean, one thing, I drink nowhere near as much as I used to, if I'm honest, mate. Just that's more from, mate, because I'm not very good at having the off button. As you saw multiple times, I'm not really good at like stopping if I'm with the lads. But it's just I pick and choose a little bit more these days, mate, when I drink. But if I drink now, mate, it tends to be, I do love a beer, mate, if I'm honest. I love my Peronis, mate. You can't beat a Peroni. But I think like in my 20s especially, mate, like vodka was the amount of vodka I could plow down me, mate, was sensational. Do you know what I mean? It's just like just the problem is, like, again, you drink too fast, you don't know when to stop. But no, it's I think one thing you're probably getting at there, kids, is it's real, mate. I don't care. Even now, I've got some clients that are probably some of the most successful people on the planet, but I don't care if someone's worth 10p or 10 million. Like, I do not care. Like, you know what I mean? I treat everyone the same. And at the end of the day, if someone's coming to me for help, then they abide by my rules, and that's that. So, but we always have to enjoy the process, you know, as much as possible.
Yeah, definitely.
They get control, mate, wherever they're from, mate. Like, I say, I've not been brought up on a council estate from Coventry, mate, but I don't care what they if they're coming onto my program, mate. We do things my way, but we have some fun as well, mate. You know, 100%, mate. But no, it's you can't. I think like in life, life's short, mate, and I love working hard, mate, and you know, doing all right for myself. But you got to have some fun, mate. I love nothing more than the banter. Even when we had that game that I lasted 7 minutes.
The West Ham.
Yeah, it might lasted 7 minutes, but I just love. There's nothing more than just banter and laughing. You can't beat it, you know.
That was good. The West Ham day was just a good day all round, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a good day. I mean, I feel terrible for Smithy because obviously, like, there's me, like, a turn up. Like, I felt fantastic. Like, you know, probably like the leanest footballer on the pitch, and I lasted 7 minutes, and I had to give it one of them after. Just pulled my hamstring, and that's what's nuts is obviously your body. You know, I don't know if you've been like this yourself, but you know, when you used to get people telling you in their mid-30s, you know, some of the footballers, you know, that when we were in our teens, and you get the older players going, "Oh, your body ain't what it ain't the same."
Yeah.
You think, no chance. You just think they're talking shit, and then you get to that age, and you know, I'll go to do a sprint, even though I'm lean. It's just a different dynamic, and just
it's a strange feeling at times.
Yeah, it is. I mean, to be honest, mate, in my head, like, because obviously knowing what I know now, it's like I still, you don't lose that competitiveness. Like, you know, one of my pals, he's into his fitness. Obviously, he owns like really popular gym, class complex and stuff, complex in London. He goes to me the other day, like, do you want to do some running around the track? Like, got this like challenge, and I ain't ran on a track in God knows how long, probably since, you know, Coventry days. And I meet him at the track at like Wednesday at like 6 a.m. and he tells me, like, this is what we're doing, and he said, like, we're doing 4 warm-up laps, then we're going to do like just an 800 meters, just like half pace, and then we're going to do a mile, like a test to see what time. And basically it was a race against him. And
was it? So he got you there for a race.
Yeah. But so anyway, he's obviously pretty fit. Like, you know, he's done some like running challenges and all this stuff. And I, in my head, like, I thought, right, you didn't, you know, we'll see about this. So we literally like, we go off, and I just sat on his shoulder like to the last 200, and like in my head I was thinking, like, I don't know if my hamstrings are going to go here, you know, because I'm like,
really?
But anyway, no, but I've done him, mate. I've done him. I left him for dead. He went like that to me afterwards. Like, he goes, you played me. He said, you played me. You played me. I went like that. I just sent him a message back saying I was pretty good at the, you know, cross-country champion, 800-meter champion, 400 I said, bleep test champion at Cobb. I said, bring it on.
Brilliant.
But no, I don't know. Still love all that stuff. You know, that's the one thing I do miss, kids, all jokes aside. Like, I don't know if you're the same. Like, I miss that competitiveness, you know, and that, you know, when you're going out on Saturday, you need to, like, that pressure to win. I miss that. You know, I don't think any weight session, any, you know, like your boxing sessions or whatever it may be, even a race around the track, like, just that, you know, that on going out on a Saturday and needing to win and perform, and obviously, especially remember you guys in the Youth Cup, you know, getting to that. I mean, that must have been a phenomenal feeling, you know, because you were captain, of course, because weren't you? You know, to take the team through. That's what you miss.
Yeah, but you've summed it up earlier when you say it kind of makes you in a way, because you almost get to these experiences and obviously that result against West Ham, and you sort of come away and you go, what happened there? And you know, you break your heart, you piece it back together, and you go again and you learn from it. And it's all, you've kind of summed it up quite well.
Yeah, no. I think what you basically said, like, because if I look at things and I said this on social media the other day, ironically, I think at the time we all have moments in our life where at that time you think my life ended, and you think, like, what am I living for? There's no purpose, you know, when like you get told you're not good enough at football. And even, you know, 2009, you know, when I, like, whilst I was still plumbing, I was despondent with life because I hated what I was doing. But I missed the phone call to make the men's health final. And then, you know, few years, like, well, it was only 18 months, 2 years ago, I ruptured my bicep doing the bloody charity boxing. In that moment, you think, I'm fucked. Like, how I actually thought even a couple, 18 months ago, like, is my career going to be the same again? I'm going to be able to like train, coach, PT, demonstrate, and all that. But the reality was, like, they're blessings in a way if you choose to look at it that way. When you have a setback, and obviously when you're 20, you don't have the mindset to look at that setback as this potentially could be the best thing that's happened in my life to make me a stronger character. You weren't aware of that. And I look back now and think all these moments from the age of 6 when you get told you couldn't play football, getting knocked back by Gary McAllister, missing out on the men's health final in 2009, the rupture. I genuinely think they've been probably the 4 of the most like blessed moments of my life, because it's made me a stronger character and it's made me a smarter coach. For example, the rupture, I respect sleep more, recovery more, things like the Pilates and stuff that you'd have laughed at that a few years ago, but they've literally shaped your character if you choose to look at it that way. Because when you get knocked back, like you have 2 choices. You're either going to let it control you, or you're going to choose, right, how can I create a new focus, a new vision to move forward? Which again might sound quite deep, but it's literally true. Like, even with the COVID situation at the minute, it's like you've got 2 choices when you get something bad happen. Or you're going to let it control you, or you're going to go, right, I'm now going to use this as a cue to do something different or to come back stronger. And that's why I think now one of the reasons like my business is going so well, and I'm attracting the type of character that I want to work with. Like, I attract business leaders, go-getters, just good, male business leaders, all that sort of stuff. But I like working with leaders, people who've done great things, and it's like, I think it's because of all these things that have happened that made me a stronger character. So I know how to deal with that type of character, and it's, I just find all that fascinating. But you're either going to get controlled or you control life. And I think the biggest advice I can give to anyone whenever they feel stuck or like they get set back, like whether it's a footballer getting knocked back or someone who's lost a job, or because there might be people losing their jobs at the minute or whatever, like it could be relationship, could be something personal go wrong, is like, how can you look at what is it teaching you, and how can you like redirect your focus for a better outcome? Because ultimately life continues whether you like it or not, and you're either going to let life control you, or you're going to go, right, how can I create a new vision, a new perception, a new blueprint of my life, and what do I need to do to enjoy the process and get there, right. And that's what I feel so powerful about,
Mate, I'm going to say I'd like to wrap it up there, because that was wicked, and that's a great way for us to wrap this one up, mate.
All good, mate.
Kieran, are you happy with that?
Yeah, it's brilliant. Perfect.
Mate, honestly, that was absolutely wicked. What a great way to end it.
Yeah.
I think it's nice for people to listen to that and go, do you know what? He's dead right.
Yeah,
I'm even thinking it here, sitting here listening.
No. What it is, mate. And the thing is, one thing I want to get across to people is, like, people may see, and especially like with social media now, where people only see generally the good bits of people's life, where they may see, and obviously we've had jokes about it, because where it's like you might see a cover or 2, you might see the 6 packs, the transformation, the Sunday specials. Like, dude, man, we all have shit days, like, and I'm fucking hell, I can be a moody bastard and all that sort of stuff. But it's like it's not all plain sailing.
Yeah.
But ultimately, if you're not happy with where you're at right now in your life, you have a choice to create a new outcome, and being around good people and redirecting you to focus to things that run in line with your passion and just excite you about life. Like, whenever you're stuck, think, what is it teaching me, and how can I create a new vision to move forward? And I think life's short, and just live it on your terms, and just never believe that anything isn't possible. And I think, honestly, the knockbacks, they will serve you as your greatest teachers, I believe, long term. I really do believe that.
Mate, it's wicked. It's great to catch up, mate. Right, Giza, I'm going to close it down and let you get to bed, mate.
Awesome,
Thanks
mate. Thank you so much, mate.